Good morning students and welcome to Big Data Analytics and Hadoop class. In this course, we are going to learn about what is big data and the software of Hadoop. The Big Data Analytics course outcomes has 4 course outcomes which we have designed. After learning this Big Data Analytics, we are supposed to learn the following 4 outcomes. The first one is preparing for data summarization, query and analysis. So this is all about the skill about understanding, and through that we are going to achieve the PO1 and PO2. As we know that our institution is accredited to NBA, so we are supposed to achieve all the 12 POs, that is program outcomes. So with the course outcome 1, we are going to achieve the PO1 and PO2. The second course outcomes is applying data modeling techniques on large data sets. And through this, we are going to get the skill on applying. That means you are going to apply various techniques on large data sets. And through that, we are going to achieve the program outcomes, that is PO1, PO2 and PO4. The course outcome 3 is about creation of applications on big data analytics. This also will create a skill of applying, and through that we are going to achieve the program outcome PO1, PO2 and PO4. The last course outcome is building complete business data analytics solution, and through that we are going to achieve the skill of applying, and through that we are going to achieve the program outcome 1, 2, 4 and 5. So overall, by the end of Big Data Analytics course, we are supposed to achieve these 4 course outcomes. So as the Big Data Analytics consists of 5 units, so from the 5 units, we are going to start with the unit 1. The unit 1 consists of the following topics such as working with the big data, Google file system, Hadoop distributed file system, and in that Hadoop distributed file system we are going to see about the building blocks of Hadoop, and in that we are going to see about name node, data node, secondary name node, that means how these nodes are going to work. Introducing and configuration of Hadoop cluster, we are going to make the Hadoop cluster also in this course, and configuration of XML files. Might you have been wondering that why the elephant is walking. The basic reason behind this is, as the word big data is, the big data is nothing but larger in size of data, and in this world the largest element is, the largest animal is elephant, and it stores large amount of data. So data and the elephant size is a combination of that. That is one reason, and second important reason is, as the Big Data Analytics course is a combination of Hadoop software, and the person who designed and developed the Hadoop is a dove cutting, and dove cutting has given the name of Hadoop on his son's toy, that is Hadoop, which is a symbol of elephant. So because of that reason we have given the symbol of elephant. So today's topic is all about what is big data, characteristics of big data, few examples of big data, types of big data analytics and applications of big data. What is big data is? Big data is nothing but lots of data which is measured in terms of petabytes, zettabytes, yogabytes, etc., the growing size. Generally, big data is a term for collection of data sets so large as well as they are complex that it becomes difficult to process using on-hand database management tools as well as traditional data processing applications. That means you are already well versed with the XML, you are already well versed with the DBMS, so you can't able to manage your big data with those courses, with those DBMS. You can't manage with your SQL, you can't manage with your MySQL, etc. So you require something extra software. So it has certain challenges such as storage is a big problem, searching is also a big problem, sharing, transfer, analysis and visualization. These are all the big challenges of the big data. Now the question is, from where we are getting this big data? Systems, entrepreneurs, generating huge amount of big data from terabytes to petabytes, petabytes to zettabytes, zettabytes to yogabytes. How? This is the image of New York Stock Exchange market, and this image is saying that it is generating nearly 1 terabyte of data per trade. That means there are number of trades will be happening. So, per trade it is generating 1 terabyte of data, and in the world there are number of areas are there, sectors are there which generates large amount of data. Just the New York Stock Exchange itself is generating 1 terabyte of data from different parts of the world, from different areas of the world. There are large amount of big data is there. So, how to handle them? That is, the storage is an issue for us, sharing is an issue for us, searching is an issue for us. Similarly, performing the analysis, making the data to be visualized, these are all the various issues. And I want to give the example of big data, that is nothing but the COVID-19 also generated large amount of big data. How the COVID-19 has generated large amount of big data? The coronavirus, people who are affected, we need to maintain large amount of data of it, such as their blood samples, their swab reports, their CT scans, etc. So, we need to manage those coronavirus data, so that in case in future if we are going to get any other pandemic situation, to handle those pandemic situations, this will be the data which can be made visualized, and the research can be happen in a better manner. Different formats of big data are unstructured data, semi-structured data and structured data. So, let us start with the unstructured data. Unstructured data are unorganized data with an unknown scheme. It does not have any schema. Its schema is totally unknown, such as audio files, video files, etc. So, you have large amount of unstructured data in your mobile phones too. In your mobile phones, you have a GIF files, you have images, you have audio files, you have video files. That means every hand which is having a smartphones, it is also generating large amount of big data. The next type of format of data is called as a semi-structured data. What is a semi-structured data is? It is partially organized data and it does not have fixed formats. The best example is XML, that is called as extensible markup language. So, we have learned this XML. So, during our XML formatting, it does not have any fixed structure. Whatever the structure we want, we can define it and we can do it. The second example is JSON, that is called as JavaScript Object Notation. The last format of big data is called as structured data. It is very simple. It has a fixed schema, that is called as a RDBMS. So, the big data formats is a combination of unstructured data, semi-structured data and structured data. Let us see how the big data is exploiting or how the unstructured data is exploiting. This is the graph demonstrating how the unstructured data is exploiting. You can see from 1970 to 2000, from 1970 to 2000, there is a slow growth of unstructured data, because there was a less usage of social media networks, there was a less usage of smartphones. Because of those reasons, the generation of structured data was very slow up to 2000. But when you see from 2000 onwards, there is a drastic change in the growth of unstructured data. The reason for that is there is a large growth of social media. People started using Facebook, people started using Twitters, people started using smartphones, lot of sensor data has been generated. So, because of that, from 2000 onwards, there is a large growth of unstructured data. That means there is a potential growth of the country. Yes, this slide is showing how the market revenue of big data is generating. So we are seeing the market revenue of big data in terms of billion US dollars. Let us see from 2011. From 2011, it was just 7.6 billion US dollars. But now when you see 2020, it is somewhere around 56 billion US dollars. And the survey and the statistics saying that the dollars, the data and its revenue will be increased. Certainly by 2027, it is almost all 103 billion US dollars. This shows that, this slide shows that there is a large demand for the big data analytics. There is a large growth of big data analytics. There will be a large demand of job for big data analytics. So there is a very good opportunity for us. IBM has defined the big data in 3 ways. That is, big data is bigger in volume. As you see, the big data is increasing in volume. The big data is increasing in velocity, its speed is increasing. The big data is in the form of various variety, such as we are getting the big data from web logs, audio files, images, videos, sensor data. So IBM has defined the big data as volume, velocity and variety. These are few more characteristics of big data, such as volume, huge amount of data. We are getting combination of unstructured data, structured data and semi-structured data. Veracity, there is an uncertainty of data. As suddenly COVID-19 has came, there is a large growth of coronavirus related data. As I said you that CT scans has generated large amount of data, the blood samples has generated large amount of data. Apart from that, the patient's data also generated lots. That is an uncertainty. We never expected that coronavirus will come and it will generate large amount of data. Even velocity also, in a high speed the data has generated. Variety, different forms of data from various sources. Value, we need to extract useful data from this. I want to give the example basing on the value. As so much data has been generated from coronavirus, we need to extract a value or important data so that further research can be done, so that better treatment can be done. That is called as extracting of useful data. Let us see a few examples of big data still more. Walmart handles more than 1 billion customer transaction every hour. Just imagine how much big data is generating. Facebook stores, access and analyzes 30 plus petabytes of user generated data. How large data it is. 230 millions of tweets created every day. Now this became a fashion now. Whatever the official information is there, we need to tweet it. Recently Pranab Mukherjee has got infected with the coronavirus, so he made a tweet saying that he is positive. More than 5 million people are calling, texting, tweeting and browsing on mobile phones worldwide. YouTube users uploading 48 hours of new video every minute. It's every minute. Amazon is handling 50 million customer clickstream user data per day. 294 billion emails are sent every day. These are the few examples. You can see how Walmart is generating big data, how Facebook is generating big data, how Twitters are generating big data. Whenever we are making a calling, whenever we are making a texting, whenever we are browsing, all these things are also generating large amount of big data. YouTubes are also generating big data. Just as you can see that we used to teach the classes offline. In order to meet the pandemic situation and to teach in online, we need to make a YouTubes. So this YouTube also has created large amount of big data. Amazon is generating large amount of big data. Every day nearly 294 million mails, emails are sent. So these are all the large amount of big data. Let us see the various types of big data analytics. The first type of analytic is called as a descriptive analytics. What is a descriptive analytics? It is nothing but what is happening now based on incoming data. That is a descriptive analytics. The best example of descriptive analytics is Google Analytical Tools. What is the Google Analytic Tools is doing is, a business gets results from the web server through the tool which help understand what actually happened in the past and validate if a promotional campaign was successful or not based on basic parameters like page views. So it shows that basing on the incoming data, what the campaigning has been conducted, whether there was a success or whether there was a failure. That is called as a descriptive analytics. The next type of analytics is called the predictive analytics. What is the predictive analytics? What might happen in the future is a predictive analytics. So the best example for the predictive analytics is Southern West Airlines always makes an analysis of sensor data on their planes in order to identify the patterns that indicate potential malfunctioning, so that before scheduling the flight they can make the repairing of the parts. The next type of analytics is called as a prescriptive analytics. The prescriptive analytics is nothing but what action should be taken is a prescriptive analytics. The best example for the prescriptive analytics is Google self-driving car. For example, the Google self-driving car, basing on the environment, it makes a decision to make the directions. So how it gets the data? From the environment, it generates the data through the sensors, and basing on the environment situations, the data will be collected and then the decision will be taken. The next type of analytics is called the diagnostic analytics. What is a diagnostic analytics? Why did it happen is a diagnostic analytics. For a social media marketing campaigning is the best example for this. Why did it happen? That means basing on the number of posts, basing on the number of followers, basing on the number of fans, basing on the number of page views, etc. That is called as a, basing on all these parameters, whether I have succeeded or whether I have failed. So that is called as a diagnostic analytics, and this can be very useful for social media marketing campaigning. In our class, we will be having a Annie, grandma, and the granny likes quizzes, puzzles. So in between our class, the granny will be asking the puzzles and questions. So whatever the topics we have covered till now, let us have a questions. Map the following corresponding data type: XML files, Word document files, PDF files, text files, email body, data from enterprise system, that is ERP, CRP, etc. So what is the answer for this is, XML falls under semi-structured data, Word files, PDF files and text files falls under unstructured data, email body falls under unstructured data. So data from enterprise, that is ERP and CRP, is called as structured data. This answer itself is showing that and telling us that there is a potential growth of unstructured data compared to structured data, because the structured data is only generating from ERP and CRP, that is the normal schema based data we call as a. Let us see common big data customer scenarios, or we call as applications of big data, we call as So web and e-tailing is also generating big data. So why I said customers? I said customers because web and e-tailing is generating big data, and the people or the areas who are generating big data, they will become as customers for us. So web and e-tailing is generating big data through recommendation engines, ad targeting, search quality, abuse and click forward detection. So eBay is the biggest company in the world which is generating large amount of big data with respect to web and e-tailing. Even telecommunication is also generating large amount of big data, such as customer churn preventions, network performance and optimization, CDR analysis, analyzing network to predict failures. Let us take the example of CDR analysis. From my mobile phone, how many calls I am making, how many texting I am doing, what are the WhatsApp data I am doing. So I can do the analysis by using the CDR analysis, that is called as a calling data record analysis. And this is quite good that if I want to catch any crime, I can catch the crime by using the CDR analysis. And in the world, China Mobile is the biggest company in the world which is generating large amount of big data. Government is also generating large amount of big data. How government is generating large amount of big data? Through Aadhaar. Aadhaar is generating large amount of big data. When there was no existence of Aadhaar, we used to maintain our identity by using the ration cards. And in the ration cards, we used to have the photo of entire family, and the same ration card we used to use by the entire family. But now, in a family, if 4 members are there, the 4 members has got their unique identity cards, that is called as the Aadhaar card. How Aadhaar has generated large amount of big data is, Aadhaar is having your iris, Aadhaar is having your thumb impression, Aadhaar is having your picture, Aadhaar is having your name, date of birth, your address, all these things. If you measure them, the large quantity of unstructured data is your iris, your thumb and your picture, and smaller data is your name, your address, your date of birth, etc. That is called as structured data. So Aadhaar has generated large amount of big data. So using this Aadhaar, we can do better things, such as we can go for fraud detection and cyber security, we can launch welfare schemes, we can do justice. Through this Aadhaar, really who are eligible for the schemes, we can find out. So government is doing a wonderful job with this. Healthcare and life sciences also generating large amount of big data. For example, healthcare service quality improvement is done. There is a large improvement in the drug safety also, and healthcare information exchanging is happening. And in the world, Next Bio is the company in the world which is generating large amount of big data. Of course, from the health side, the generation of big data is too high. That means you have a large amount of CT scans of various diseases. Before 20 years, the analysis on cancer takes lot of time. But now, with the available analytics, with the available analysis, the detection of the cancer is very simple because of availability of the large amount of big data. So big data is helping the world to do a better service. Banks and financial services are also generating large amount of big data. JP Morgan Chase is the biggest company in the world which is generating large amount of big data. So banks and financial services generating big data by the modeling true risks, threat analysis, fraud detections, trade surveillances, credit scoring and analysis. Retail is generating large amount of big data. How they are generating large amount of big data? Through the point of sales transaction analysis, customer churn analysis, sentiment analysis, etc. So with this also it is generating large amount of big data, and Sears is the biggest company in the world which is generating large amount of big data. So with all the previous slides, we have covered almost all the areas which is generating large amount of big data. Telecommunication has generated large amount of big data. Banks and financial services has generated large amount of big data. Health services has generated large amount of big data. Government generated large amount of big data, and retail is also generating large amount of big data. So every area. So we have a lot of challenges, how to store them, how to manage them, how to do the analysis, how to do the visualization so that people can understand. They can do the predictive analysis, they can go for diagnostic analysis for the better business management. I would like to tell the hidden treasure of Sears company. Sears, as long as the Sears getting stuck. So let us see, as long as the Sears was working on the structured data, they used to work on the Oracle, but once the Sears got unstructured data, they require a new software that is called as a Hadoop. Why the symbol of elephant has been kept? In the world, the largest, as per the size, the largest animal is elephant, and comparison of big data and the elephant is quite good. But the basic reason behind this is the person who created the Hadoop software, his name is Duff Cutting, and Duff Cutting has given his son's toy name as a Hadoop for this software, and the toy is a symbol or it's an image of elephant. So that is why, might you have seen or not, on the textbooks of big data Hadoop, the images of elephant will be there. So we will conclude the session through this video.
Percent of the data available in the world today has been created over the last 2 years. We find ourselves in the age of big data, but what does this mean exactly? Big data analytics is the study of huge amounts of stored data in order to extract behavior patterns. These data are characterized by the high speed they are being generated with, the huge volume they represent, the immense variety of typologies they encompass, and the degree of veracity they own. More than 2.5 trillion bytes of information are generated every day through our smartphones, tablets, GPS devices, sensors spread all over our cities, bank cards. What can be done with all this information? This is where big data analytics comes into play, the combination of high technology systems and mathematics which together are capable of analyzing all that information and providing it with a meaning of great value for companies or governments. There are 4 types of big data analytics. The descriptive one explains what happened in the past based on data presented through graphics or reports, but not why or what will happen in the future. The diagnostic one, closely linked to the previous type, seeks to understand the reasons why any given event took place in the past. The predictive one, the most useful for companies, goes through data in order to predict what could happen. And finally, the prescriptive one, an evolution of the preceding approach based on automation processing or A/B testing. The system, besides analyzing and predicting data, advises on how to proceed according to them by recommending, for example, the best location on your site to place a banner, or the most convenient gas station along your way if you want to avoid traffic. Big data analytics helps companies or public administrations to understand their users better, find previously unnoticeable opportunities, provide a better service, and even mitigate fraud. The revolution of datafication is just beginning.
Yes, the video has given the complete conclusion of the topic. The video has shown about what is big data and the features of big data, and different types of big data analytics and various applications. Thank you for listening to the class. In the next class, we will discuss about what is Hadoop and its importance. Thank you.